There is something deeply wrong with you. At least, that's what the modern world keeps telling you. You sit down for 10 minutes and guilt floods in. You cancel plans to stay in bed, and you spend the whole day hating yourself for it. You stare at your ceiling, doing absolutely nothing, and somewhere in the back of your mind, a voice whispers, "Why can't you just be productive?" But what if that voice is the problem? What if laziness, as we understand it, doesn't actually exist? Imagine you are not sitting in your room right now. Imagine there are no walls, no ceiling, no phone. You are standing in open grassland. The sun is brutal. The ground is dry. You haven't eaten since yesterday, and the nearest water source is 4 miles away. You are not lazy. You are calculating. Every step you take costs energy. Every action has a price. And in this world, the world your brain was actually built for wasting energy is not a personal failure. It is death. 40,000 years ago, rest was not a reward for hard work. Rest was the work. It was survival math performed in real time by a nervous system that had no room for error. Your brain has not changed since then. Not in any meaningful way. Here is what actually happened inside the human body over hundreds of thousands of years. Our ancestors lived in a feast and famine loop that had no off switch. Hunt, gather, eat, rest, repeat. The body learned through brutal trial and error across generations that energy spent unnecessarily was energy that might not be there when a predator appeared or when the dry season came. So the brain developed what researchers now call the thrifty gene hypothesis, first proposed by geneticist James Neal in 1962. Neal wasn't talking about laziness. He was describing a deeply intelligent biological system that hoards energy, avoids unnecessary effort, and prioritizes rest whenever the environment allows it. This wasn't weakness. This was the most sophisticated survival software evolution ever produced. The mechanism goes deeper than genes. Your brain runs on glucose, a fuel that is expensive to produce and critical to protect. Neuroscientist Daniel Lieberman at Harvard has spent years studying the evolution of human physical activity, and his research consistently points to one uncomfortable truth. The human body is not designed for constant output. It is designed for strategic bursts of effort, followed by deliberate recovery. The brain actively resists unnecessary movement, not because it is broken, because it is working exactly as designed. Think about that for a moment. The organ telling you to rest is the same organ that kept your species alive for 200,000 years. And here is where it gets strange. The guilt you feel when you rest, that creeping anxiety, that voice calling you worthless for taking a break that is not ancient, that is new, embarrassingly new. The idea that a person's value is tied to their productivity is roughly 250 years old. It emerged from the Industrial Revolution, when factory owners needed workers to override their biology and show up, perform, and repeat on a schedule designed for machines, not mammals. The guilt is not instinct. The guilt was installed. You were handed shame for a behavior your body spent millennia perfecting. Before industrialization, rest was woven into the structure of daily life. Medieval peasants, despite what modern mythology suggests, worked far fewer hours than a contemporary office worker. Historian and economist Juliet Schor documented in The Overworked American that pre-industrial laborers regularly observed saints' days, seasonal breaks, and informal rest periods that could account for nearly a third of the calendar year. They were not lazy. They were living in closer alignment with the biological rhythm their bodies actually ran on. Your body still runs on that rhythm. It did not get the memo about quarterly targets. Now here is the part that most people never hear. Rest is not the absence of productivity. Rest is when your brain does some of its most critical work. During periods of quiet, during what neuroscientists call the default mode network activation, your brain is not idle. It is consolidating memory, processing emotion, running simulations of future scenarios, building the internal narrative that makes you a coherent, functioning human being. When you stare at the ceiling doing nothing, your prefrontal cortex is running background processes that no amount of forced productivity can replicate. Sleep researchers at the University of Rochester discovered in 2013 that the brain has its own waste clearance system, the glymphatic system, which operates almost exclusively during rest. It flushes out metabolic waste products, including proteins linked to neurological disease. Your brain literally cleans itself when you stop pushing it. Stillness is maintenance, not failure. Now bring this home. Think about the last time you felt that specific, low-grade dread when you had a free afternoon and couldn't enjoy it. When you lay down exhausted but couldn't stop mentally listing everything you should be doing. That feeling is a collision. It is 50,000 years of biological intelligence crashing into 250 years of industrial conditioning. Your nervous system is saying rest, and the cultural software running on top of it is saying perform. Both signals are firing simultaneously, and neither one wins cleanly. That tension you feel is not a character flaw. It is a system conflict. Your brain still scans for threats the way it did on open savanna. And in the modern world, the threat it has learned to scan for is judgment. Social exclusion. The label of being the one who didn't try hard enough. Because in a tribal world, being cast out of the group was a death sentence. So your brain treats the fear of being seen as lazy with the same urgency it once reserved for predators. You are not afraid of being lazy. You are afraid of being left behind. And that fear is hijacking a system that was never designed to run at full capacity indefinitely. Here is what your biology is actually asking for. It is not asking you to do nothing forever. It is asking for rhythm. Effort followed by recovery. Tension followed by release. The same pattern that governed every day of human existence for the vast majority of our species' time on Earth. Your body knows this pattern. It has always known it. Every time you push through exhaustion because you feel guilty stopping, you are not being disciplined. You are overriding the most ancient and intelligent regulatory system in the known universe. The ancestors who rested when they could, they survived. They stored energy. They healed. They woke up the next morning ready for the hunt. The ones who never stopped, who pushed past every signal their body sent, they burned out. They got injured. They made desperate decisions on depleted nervous systems. Evolution does not reward relentlessness. It rewards rhythm. So the next time you feel the pull towards stillness, when your body wants to stop and your mind starts whispering that you are falling behind, remember what that pull actually is. It is not weakness. It is not failure. It is a 200,000-year-old system doing exactly what it was built to do. You are not broken. You are just running ancient software in a world that forgot where it came from. And maybe the most radical thing you can do in a culture that worships output is to finally, deliberately, unapologetically rest.